Today is going to be really straightforward. I'm a little behind because of Patterson Jr. and I'll be posting everything as soon as I can. Thank you all for understanding and continuing to understand, I should say. So before I get into that, I want to just dive into the big part of this week, which is that originally I had been thinking and decided that we will not be meeting as a class on Google Meet those scheduled times. It was my estimation that that was just some more busy time for you, and I'd rather give that time back to you to do what you need to do, especially considering what other teachers are giving you. A couple of you actually in the remote learning survey did mention that you kind of enjoy just coming in and checking in and listening to me rant or yammer on, or et cetera, et cetera. So you can still do that. You can still come in, and if a number of you want to do that, I'm happy to rant about the woes of our times right now. So I don't want to mandate it. That way, those members in the class that have other things to do or have other places to be at that time, actually I'll make that bold, can go and do that as well. But excitingly, this week we will be introducing the skeletal system. We get a new system, and I think this is one that tends to be a lot more invigorating and of interest to the students. It's one of those ones you come in already hoping to learn about. And I do want to reiterate that you definitely want to start with the learning resources down here before moving on to the practice resources. And then ultimately the assessment tasks, which again for this week are just going to be a simple quiz. It's going to be a summative, but this will be a 10-point quiz. 10 points, that's it. 10 questions, quick and easy, and it's going to be a lot more pared down because last week we were finishing up our integumentary system simply because we just needed to move on, especially with this whole craziness that we've been thrown into with COVID-19. So this is our first real new unit as part of the new schooling system. So we're going to start easy and get rolling. But Junior is starting to cry, so I'm going to wrap up nice and quick here. So as we dive into the skeletal system, you're going to have the same systems we've had in place are going to be in place as well. So once this video goes live and is posted on YouTube, that link will appear here. And that'll just be this video that you're listening to right now. The skeleton notes, parts 1 and 2, are going to be fair game for the quiz down here. However, you will be getting all of the skeletal system notes. So it might seem like a lot, it might seem overwhelming. And I'll actually just open that up now. And we'll get back to that. But you're going to get all those notes all at once. But just as a quick reminder, those of you that watch this video should know that only parts 1 and 2, or this page, and then part 2, which is this page and this page, are fair game for the quiz at the end of the week. So along with those notes and the lectures that accompany those two portions of the notes, the other sort of learning opportunities that we have this week is a crash course intro to the skeletal system, which can be found at this link here. It's also video 1. So if you go to Crash Course and you go to the Anatomy and Physiology playlist, it's the first video in the musculoskeletal system overview. Or you could simply follow this link. And then, of course, we have some practice resources, some ways of dealing with that information. So you've got a POGIL, and this is going to be found. I've linked so you can just view what it looks like here. This is just a view-only link. But to do it, it'll be found in the classwork section of our Google Classroom. And then you've got some labeling practices here. We've actually used this game website before. And so you've got some bone classification labeling practice, and you'll know what that means when you watch the lectures up here, particularly the first one. You've also got some appendicular labeling practice. So the parts of the skeleton that are in the appendicular skeleton, you'll have practice identifying and labeling those, and then some practice labeling the axial portions of the skeleton. These two sections right here are not required. This is just for you, and I would advise perusing that game website that these are both from, because moving forward, there's more than just this, and I think diversity is important when you're doing practice. I didn't want to leave a list of 100 different labeling games or different labeling websites. You all are probably more technologically savvy than I am and are able to surmise those out. But those are the two that I would suggest doing several different times this week. All three of these are not required. The only required practice portion before taking the skeletal system quiz at the end of the week is going to be this POGIL right here. And I just want to be really clear about that. And last but not least, like I said before, the skeletal system quiz is going to be quiz number 1 of probably 4 small quizzes that we take week after week. Again, no big deal. It's not super punitive. And that should round out the week. Again, the skeletal system quiz is only on parts 1 and 2 of the skeletal system notes that are accompanied by parts 1 and 2 of the notes lectures that'll go up. The big change for this week is that the lectures for the notes that I upload, I'm not going to wait until I've done all of the skeletal system notes to upload the video. I'm just going to upload them in smaller segments. That way you guys are waiting around less while I get to grips with teaching while, cradling a baby and stuff like that. So that way you're not waiting on my incompetence. That should be it for this week. We are not meeting as a class. You still have to check in with me to mark attendance, although I did have as part of the remote learning survey, someone kindly suggested that I simply do an attendance comment on our Google Classroom feed. And we had actually started by doing that, and I think I'm going to go back to that just because it's a lot easier than having you sign in to Google Meet if you don't have any questions. But yeah, so from 8:45 to 11:45 today, or to 12:15, I'll be available for you to just drop into that same Google Meet portal that we've been using for my classes, for you to come in, turn your mic, and ask some questions. Yeah, so have a good week. Stay healthy, stay happy, get outside in nature, away from people, and we'll keep tackling this head on as it comes. Have a good week. Bye.